everybody. We're here at, in my basement. Kyle's hanging out in his car, and we've got Kyle Troup with us today, this 2024 U.S. Open champion. This is the first time you've won this event. Is that correct?
You are correct, Todd. Yeah.
Yes. Did a little research. I think I saw 11 titles, 2 majors now.
Yeah, that sounds great, man.
Yeah, just keep building those numbers, man.
Good gracious.
Just keep building the numbers. How fun was that?
I mean, it was, obviously a lot of fun. It's fun anytime you can win, but being a major and the journey that I've had through my career with U.S. Open, it was like a day that I probably never expected in my life, really. Dating back for 7 years, I bowled the U.S. Open, never even came close to the Cashers round. Then I was able to make the Cashers round. Last year, I finished second, obviously making match play for my first time. And then to win, it just really shows my 10-year journey, kind of how much I've developed as a bowler and as a person, and how much I've learned about the game. So that was really the special feeling, on top of winning it with Brianna and the kids there and some friends and Guppy and having almost the whole family, just missing my brother Tyler, but it was a blessing. Sure.
Well, Tyler's part of our group now too, right? He's part of Bowlify now.
Yes, yeah.
He runs a lot of tournaments. What's that?
Yeah. I said he's a smart man, and
that's right.
He's been running the Troop Scratch Classic. It's a monthly tournament at Penn Station, my home center when I lived in North Carolina, and he's been doing it for about 4 years now, probably averaging 80 a month. Does a Player of the Year race, runs about 100 brackets for the 3 games of qualifying. So he's moving, decent amount of money in there, in and out. Doing great things for the community down in Newton.
Very cool. I'll probably have to reach out to him. We're getting ready to launch something called Bowler HQ. That's what this is.
Okay.
And it's really going to be a tournament hub for tournament directors around the country.
Very nice.
You'll be able to jump on the Bowler
like that back in the day.
There's been a few, but Bowlify, Steve has put this together, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to head this one up. And it's going to be something that tournament directors all over the country are going to be able to go to and see. They can search by bowling center, search by how many miles around. It's going to be helpful to bowlers to be able to see what's going on. And it's going to be helpful to tournament directors. So it's so hard anymore. And I'm sure your brother can tell you this, scheduling tournaments. I do a tournament every weekend, but scheduling tournaments and not trying to be within a, 50, 100 miles, depending on the type of the event, and not being on top of somebody else. It's so hard to do anymore. So this would be a big help for that.
Very nice.
So I'll make sure
that with everyone.
Oh yeah. We'll get that out to as many people. It's going to happen soon. Jody Boyd's in here in the chat. So let's go, Kyle Troup.
Heck yeah. My man, Jody.
Everybody knows Jody. So let's just go back a little bit. When did you start bowling? How old were you? Were you start very young?
Yeah, I was 3 years old. Obviously, my father being Guppy Troup, he was in the bowling center all the time. And, growing up as a kid, that's what I love to do. Love to bowl. I can go and answer the question. My father actually started me with a heavy bowling ball, which is the reason I had to bowl two-handed. And I never really changed or switched as I got older. And luckily, Guppy never really bothered me. He was just happy I wasn't bugging him while he was bowling. I'm down there practicing two-handed. And so, I played a lot of sports in high school, but it was never good enough to make any of the teams for the high school. So I was like, stick to bowling after trying some other stuff growing up. But, that's been my start. I've been a bowling alley rat pretty much growing up in a bowling alley all my life. And, with Guppy blood running through me as well, I think that's where I get a little bit of my flair and skill in the lanes.
That's funny. You said you were going to go ahead and answer that question. I just crossed it off the list. So I won't need to ask you when you switched to two-handed. So, I mean, obviously, I'm sure your Guppy is a big influence on your game and has been your entire life. Is he your biggest influence in the game of bowling? Is there anybody else that you really look up to?
There's been so many people, being at a young age, I was traveling around to the regionals. I remember Tommy and Couch and all those guys whenever I was, 5, 6, 7 years old. But,
God, you're making me sound old.
Guppy Guppy taught me a lot off the lanes, how to be an entertainer, how to be a bowler of the bowlers. And I think that was by far the best lesson and the best advice I could have learned from him in bowling. But when it comes to two-handed bowling, he really told me nothing but to make my spares and don't show my ass.
Yeah.
Got
Well,
yanked off a few times, but there's been some bowlers along the way. I mean, Tommy Jones, he's helped me out. He's looked out for me some on tour whenever I first started coming out. And, Sean Ryan, who used to work for Storm Bowling Products, he was a tremendous help in my game, teaching me some things in my physical game that I never really knew were possible. And then obviously the 2021 season happened and we haven't looked back since.
Yeah, that was quite a year for you. Let me kind of go back a little bit onto the U.S. Open, and then we'll go forward from there. But when this year during the tournament, throughout the qualifying and throughout everything that was going on, when did you feel that you had a chance to win this year? I mean, I know you don't go into any tournament thinking you're not going to win, but
yeah, whenever I made the show, that's whenever I felt like I could truly win. I was so deep in my process all week doing Sudoku, trying to just completely space out outside of stepping on the lanes. I never really looked at the cut. The funny thing is, after the second round of match play, I think I finished with 2-0, 210, 180, 190, only won like one game. I was pretty pissed and I got done and I asked Timmy, I'm like, well, am I still in the show? And he's like, yeah, you're like 350 pins ahead of sixth. I was like, wow, okay. And then I just kind of bowled that last block and knew if I could get to TV, I feel like I'm very strong on television.
No question about that.
I lock it in. There is no time to not give it 110% effort physically and mentally. So I'm always feeling confident when I am on TV.
Very cool. I got a question. I've got a chat coming up here. So there's a lot of people. I've got a lot of troops going up to the screen. But one of the questions is, what's the funniest story from your childhood hanging around with Guppy?
Oh, God. I remember I missed school one day. I believe it was after the regional in either Charlotte or Myrtle Beach. And we stayed after on Sunday. I'm 10 years old,
You're
11 years old, maybe. And they were doing karaoke in the bar. And, I got to miss school, went to Waffle House at 2 a.m. with all the bowlers. And a lot more R-rated stories with Guppy. But the stories go on and on and on. I was sharing some stories of my own with Jesper and Daryl this morning. We were just sitting around shooting it and just laughing about some things. So, I think Troup name just carries crazy stories and, you just got to live with them, roll with them.
Well, that's right. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to have something else to follow you along and not just being one of the best bowlers in the world. You got to have a little bit of fun and that moniker of being the fun guy that's out there too. So
definitely.
And that kind of brings me. I was showing you some pictures before we got on here from Bayside Bowl. Would you say that bowling at Bayside Bowl is by far the best atmosphere of a bowling tournament?
100%. Bayside Bowl is like no other. Charlie Mitchell and his staff that, they're saying is bowl. That's bowling the way it's supposed to be or the way it should be. The love for the sport, the family, the camaraderie there, just everyone is friends with everybody there, and they love bowling. They love to have a good time, and they're entertaining. I love the crowd whenever we get to bowl up there. It's very electric, and I'm a crowd person, so I got to almost try and control myself some whenever I'm bowling at Bayside because the crowd is that electric, and the establishment is beautiful. A second level mezzanine, a third level rooftop bar with a taco truck. They got a bar up there.
Yep.
And now he's got a second bowling center, Broadway Bowl, town that they opened earlier this year. I got to see it before it was open, and he said that it's going better than he could have ever imagined. So there may be another Bayside,
another spot,
a nice spot up in Portland, Maine. But shout out to Charlie Mitchell and his team up there for everything they've done with bowling.
Yeah,
really back on the map.
Absolutely. I got to meet him when we were up there, and he was just a fantastic guy. And he just wants to see bowling thrive. And that place was. I've been around a lot of tournaments. I've watched a lot of high school, college tournaments. Been part of some of that, and I've never been around any environment that was like that. It was just like you said. It was electric, and it's definitely worth the trip. Absolutely. I think so. I think it should be that way everywhere you go.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
love that. Hey, they
yep.
try. Got the PBA league show in Indy, and they tried. And I think it's more people maybe being scared to cheer and yell while we're bowling, versus not doing it. I think that's kind of what it is, because there were some people trying to cheer and yell during the league match, but I think honestly it's just, outside of Bayside, people are kind of afraid. So we just got to change it. I think it's going to happen. The more PBA league shows we get, we're going into big cities with big followings. So pretty excited for where we're headed.
So the next time that you're on a show, you need to holler at the crowd and say, "Pretend you're at Bayside."
Oh yeah, yeah. I may even just
Try
get
to
on the
get
mic
them going.
and just let them know,
That's
hey,
right.
we going.
So right above the question I had that I scratched out, when did you start with the fro?
I mean, I had the afro when I was quite young. That was honestly like the only hairstyle I knew was dry it, pick it out, have a big, massive, nappy afro, and that was it. And then I pretty much buzzed it off. But I had the curly hair when I was 7, 8 years old. But then it was around, probably my junior or senior year of high school, I started growing my hair back out. And then I learned this stuff called hair product.
Yes.
And then I can make it kind of look like this, even though we were at Top Golf, so my hair's been getting beat up in the wind here in
All
Chicago.
right.
Um, so it was around 17, 18. I started growing my hair back out and pretty much it kept the fro slash tight curls slash man bun. I grew that out last year.
Right.
Like being able to change up the hairstyle, but yeah, it's definitely fear the fro or pro with the fro. That's got to stay.
Well, and you got Kevin Williams writing songs for you. I mean,
Yeah, that was pretty dope. He wrote that song,
oh, I thought it was great.
came up with the lyrics before practice session was over in Oklahoma one year.
Oh, that's great.
And I just need to find the song. And then the next day, he's like, bro, I got it. Check it out. And I was like, wow, like that's pretty dope.
So there's another question from Jordan Hutchinson, and wants to know, how do you keep your composure while being amazing out on the lanes? He said he could never stay as calm as you do. He would be screaming after every strike, which you guys do that too. And but how do you keep your composure? I think is the main part of his question. To
The
stay
big
in the
part
moment.
is my favorite word, process. I'm huge on that. And that process for me is, what I'm thinking about, what I'm saying, or what I'm doing off the lanes, as well as, through my pre-shot routine and executing the shot. And it comes from knowing the situation. Like I don't celebrate very often after my first shot. I normally wait till I throw my second shot. That way I can go sit down. I can decompartmentalize, reset my mind, and just comes from experience. I mean, I believe that was like over 50 games on television, so I have had lots of opportunity there to just kind of learn, um, you know, to kind of fall into my own world. Don't pay attention to my opponent. Don't pay attention to really anything that's going on, and try and just focus in and dive as deep into my focus and process as I can to execute 10 good shots. Like my goal anytime on television is to execute 10 good shots. It's not to bowl a good game. It's not to beat my opponent. I'm just trying to do that. And if I'm already on TV, I'm bowling well enough that 10 good shots
Is
is going
gonna
to be
it's
pretty
going to
darn
give
good.
you a pretty good chance. Yeah.
So we try to simplify it, and breathing. Breathing is very key, very important.
Sure. Um, let's see. Do you have I mean, obviously this has got to be right up there with one of your most memorable wins, but do you have another win throughout your career that maybe ranks up there with it?
I mean, there's several.
I mean, I'm sure they're all special.
I mean, I love winning the doubles with Jesper, but the Players Championship was a pretty special moment because one, I had talked about that event for a long time leading up to it. Two, we had to qualify in different regions. We bowled 40 games, I believe, on 4 different patterns. 2 step ladders to make the show. The step ladder final was a month later after the regional step ladder finals. So there was like a 3-month journey for that tournament, and it paid $250,000. So that was pretty nice
Well,
too.
yeah, that makes
No,
it kind of nice.
that
But
was
yeah,
all right.
I remember that whole setup was really kind of crazy, but it was neat too.
Yeah, they kept it around for a couple of years, and now we just went back to the regular event this year. But that's got to be right up there with the U.S. Open. But honestly, the U.S. Open is even more special than the Players. Just having my entire family there, and like I mentioned before, the journey that I went through in the last 10 years with the U.S. Open.
Gotcha. Another question in the crowd. Brian Hirsch wants to know if you're going to be at the show tonight.
I will not be at the show tonight.
Will not be at the show tonight.
But I will be watching it.
Yes, I will be too. Let's see. Well, obviously you bowl on the PBA tour, and that's pretty much your career. That's your, that's what you do. Do you like bowling the PBA events? Do you like bowling some of the local events?
I love
one
bowling.
or the other. You just like to bowl.
I mean, hell, if the Super Bowl wasn't tomorrow night and it was 7-hour drive to Springfield, we were gonna bowl the 8-gamer in Joliet tomorrow. It's like $700 for first. I was just gonna bowl.
Something. Yeah.
Just made 100,000 at the U.S. Open, but $500 sweeper, sign me up.
That's right.
I'm a bowler of the bowlers, and I love to compete, and I bowl for a living. So even bowling league, we got some brackets, we got some action or whatnot. Like I'm gonna shoe up. Like if I got 20 brackets, that's $100, but I'm gonna treat it like I'm bowling another tournament or like I'm bowling on tour. Like so and I just love the people. Hang out. Especially when I bowl the local tournaments. Get to meet new people. Some people are like freaking the hell out that I'm bowling with them, and it's cool. Get to chat with them, and just meet new fans. To see the people that support me, it just really makes me feel good, and glad that I'm able to bowl in these events and give them the opportunity to be able to meet me or whatnot, whatever that may happen. Because hey, I like to have a beer or two at these local.
Well, sure.
So, catch a couple sides of Kyle Troup.
You're gonna have to make it up to Cincinnati one of these days. I run tournaments around Cincinnati all the time.
Yep.
And I'll have to get you up here to bowl one of the events. A lot of the locals up here, and I'm sure you bowled against a lot of them. You got your Jalen Mosleys and your Rick McCormicks and some of the guys that would just some of the local studs and these guys and so do the other, the regular bowlers the guys that show up to these, they love bowling against guys like yourself. J.R. Raymond was in town, did a training session several years back. He stuck around and bowled the sweeper that night.
Okay.
And just, people love that. So you're always welcome at any one of our events whenever you get a chance.
Come summertime, fall, I'm definitely trying to make it up there. It's only a couple-hour drive from Louisville now. So.
Oh yeah, and I'm down that way every now and then too. I did some live streaming down there, and we ran a couple tournaments down there. I did, in fact, when we first started branching off and doing our traveling with our tournaments, one of the first ones we did, me and Jeremy did one together down there, did a doubles tournament together. So that was at Kingpin. That place is phenomenal.
Yeah. I bowl league there, and that's where I practice at. That place is
it's phenomenal. Somebody just asked, do you have any advice for the young guys wanting to go on tour?
Be patient. Try and learn every time you bowl. Know it's not going to come easy. And make your spares, kids. Like, these kids are so talented, and they got dirty strike balls, but they cannot shoot a spare. So, yeah,
that's my favorite comment on every live stream we do. We live stream every one of our events, and when I see a missed single pin or whatever, I'll say, "Make your spares, kids," because that's what's going to win you. That's going to win titles. It just is. Here's the time I said I was going to put you on the spot. I did the same thing with Bill. If you had to pick 5 bowlers, and it would be your dream team to bowl with, in whatever tournament it might be, who are your top 5?
Well, Troup's my first one. He's coming on there. I gotta have my buddy. So I gotta go with the family. I got them too. Norm Duke, I was a huge fan of. Oh, sorry. Norm Duke, a huge fan of growing up. Love him to death. We've got to spend some time together as he was, kind of coming down, through the end of his tour on the national tour. So he's a GOAT, so I'd love to bowl with Norm. And somebody I never really remember bowling or seeing bowl is Earl Anthony.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know if I ever really met him. And I seen a picture where I was bowling a Pro-Am, and I had a picture with him, and I was 4 or 5 years old.
Right.
And just never really recall personally getting to watch him throw the ball. So, I want to have some fun on my team, but I think I got 4 solid killers to go with me there.
Well, you picked 2 lefties, so.
Hey, I know what's up. You got to have some on both sides of the lane.
I think Bill had 2 lefties on his team too.
Oh yeah, smart man.
Yep. So, I mean, just kind of breaking it down. First of all, thanks for coming on with us today.
100%.
We want to do this more. Obviously, we had 3 straight majors, won by gentlemen wearing Bolify jerseys, which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
And Bolify's new line of jerseys. If folks that are watching, if you haven't had a chance to order one, do it. Kyle can tell you even more, but these things, they are the Bolify Tour line jerseys. They are something special. I don't know. I mean, a jersey's a jersey, you could say, but they're not.
Right.
You got to be comfortable when you're bowling. It's just like your feet and anything else. You got to be comfortable when you're bowling, and these jerseys are unbelievably. They're just great.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've had the opportunity to wear the tour line apparel this year, and there was a few things. One, I love the colors of them. Some jerseys, they're always going to all look pretty nice when they come brand new, but this color definitely had a little more depth or vibrant to it, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm
a
not
little
quite
pop to it.
the right word, but definitely a little more pop in the color. The breathability, it definitely gets hot in these bowling centers. Love that. But the biggest thing, the 4-way stretch with these jerseys,
Yep.
it feels like you're not wearing anything, honestly. Like, I was with Coolwick, and whenever I signed with Coolwick, and I tried their jerseys, and I was like, this is the best jersey I've tried on. And then, here we go. We got Bolify jerseys coming around, and I mean, it knocked the socks off of the Coolwick stuff just from the comfort level. I mean, the t-shirts, a lot of the apparel. I've been highly impressed with, the comfortability of it, the looks of it. Getting comments about the clothing, and Steve and the team. The things they're doing. They're very good on time too. They're very quick to reply, very,
Yep.
very official with all that. And, very excited to be on the team. We got a lot of cool things coming. I get to talk to Steve from time to time. Really excited for the future with Bolify, and seems like we got some good studs on the team too. We're off to a good start for the
Oh,
year.
there's no question. The team has grown to. I mean, the names that are on there now is pretty awesome. I've worked with Ryan now, and Ryan's my boss, I guess. So, but Ryan is fantastic. So
Yeah.
he helped build the pro team, and he did a pretty amazing job at that. So just a little plug from Bolify. Nationals is coming up. Your state tournaments are coming up. You name the tournament, it's coming up. It's that time of year. Get on Bolify.com and order your jerseys. Now's the right time to do it. And if you need any help, I'm sure Kyle would help you if you see him out and about. I certainly would help you. Call customer service if you have any questions. But it's first class, and these jerseys are second to none right now. So,
And TROUP for a discount code too. Don't forget that. Troop.
I was going to say TMT bowling, but
Oh,
they can use either one.
I stole it. No,
You just got ahead of me. That's all. You can use either one of them.
TMT bowling and Troop. We'll share it up. Sorry about
There you
that.
go.
I was
Perfect.
waiting. I was like, oh, he didn't say it. All right.
Nope. Fire away, man. It's great.
Sorry about that, Todd.
No, you're good. If I lose a sale to you, I'll call you and say, hey, what's up?
Hey, maybe we're gonna have so many sales coming from this that they're gonna need both codes to be used before one of them gets voided or something.
Well, that's right. And that's the way it should be. That's what we're looking for. So I'm going to wrap it up here. There's one last thing we got to say. You said you got to talk to Steve every now and then. I sent a text to him today. Today is our boss's birthday. Mr. Fairchild's birthday is today. So let's say we did this interview for Steve's birthday. How's that?
I would say that's a great gift towards Steve. God bless Steve. Happy birthday to Steve. That is amazing. Shout out to him for everything he's done.
Yeah, no, he is our boss, and he is second to none, a fantastic man to work with and work for, and he's all about growing our business and helping us. He gives us the tools to do it right, and happy birthday to you, bud. So
happy birthday, Steve.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add? Anything you want to throw out to the crowd?
Oh, go Chiefs.
I was going to ask you that.
Yep.
Niners
money is on the Chiefs, but the Niners are the better team. but I just don't see Kelsey and Swift losing the Super Bowl. The NFL can make way too much money off of that, and not even close the amount of money if anybody else wins. So
Yeah, there's a little bit there. That whole dynamic of the football game has brought different viewers to the game.
hey, but the key point, more viewers. So Taylor Swift, if you're watching this interview, you still have an open invite to the PBA Tour Finals.
I gotta say, I've got a daughter who's 8 years old, and she knew nothing about football other than the Bengals every now and then when I had them on, but now she's like, I asked her the other day, I said, hey, do you know who's in the Super Bowl? She said, yeah, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's team.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
she's rooting for them. So if she's 8 years old, she wouldn't know any better if it wasn't Taylor Swift.
Right.
So
yeah. Go Chiefs. Todd, thank you for having me on the show, man. Really enjoyed this.
Yep.
Excited to be the team, looking forward to the next couple of years and see what we can do.
All right. We're glad to have you. And if there's anything I can ever do for you, give me a holler.
All right.
All right, guys. We're going to sign off. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Hey, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.